Before your Lua game saves a single high score or your Lua app remembers a user's name, one thing has to happen. Your code needs to talk to a Lua file. And that's what this episode is all about. How Lua handles input and output. So, we'll write data, we'll read it back, and we'll even delete it when we are done. And when you're building a game, a tool, or just exploring Lua, file handling is the foundation. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to save your progress, save important data, and load it back like a pro. So let's jump in. And also, great news, if you have completed this course, you can head over to coding.com for your Lua certificate. And don't forget to download the Lua app from the Play Store today. Let's dive into the world of file handling, shall we? First of all, what is file handling? Well, file handling allows you to save data to a file, read data from a file, and modify files and update the stored data. Think of it like a notebook where you can write and read information whenever you need it. So first, let's talk about opening and closing files. In Lua, we use the io.open function to work with files. So first of all, let me open this folder that I created on my desktop, and I'll open command prompt inside this, and then I'll type in code space dot and hit enter. Now what this will do is this will open the folder in VS Code, and hopefully you have installed all of these extensions, that is Lua and then Code Runner mainly. So first of all, let's create a file called file.lua. So inside this file.lua, we will create a variable local called file, and inside this we will use the io.open function to open a file. So for example, if I use io.open, let's say my file.txt, this is the extension of the file, and if we open the file in read mode, this should open the designated or this mentioned file in read mode. Now if we execute this file while saving this, nothing will happen. This won't throw an error even though we don't have any file called myfile.txt in this folder. So we can see that this code is being run from this Lua directory inside my desktop. We can see it from here as well. It is run from Lua directory inside the desktop. So what io.open essentially does is it searches for myfile.txt in the current directory where the Lua script is being run. So we can see that the Lua script is file.lua is being run from this desktop and the Lua directory. Now even though there aren't any files called myfile.txt in this directory, this doesn't throw an error yet. Now it will only throw an error when we try to use the file that is mentioned. Since there is no file present in the directory, this value will contain a nil value, that is nil value, which means nothing. Now if we try to use this value of file, if we try to read contents from a file, it will throw an error. Okay, so that was some basic knowledge about opening a file through Lua. Now let's write some data into a file. In order to write data into a file, you need to open a file in Lua, but you need to open it in read or append mode. And read mode is symbolized by a W, and append mode is symbolized by an A. Now I'll tell you what these different modes mean in a bit. But first, let's write into the file by using the read mode. The write mode. So we have opened this in the write mode, and now we'll hit enter, and we can write some contents into the file by using this function. So file and a colon and then the write function, and inside our quotes the string that is going to be written. So let's write hello Lua first. So hello Lua. Let's save this and let's see what happens when we execute it. So it says it has executed. Now let's check our directory where we have run the script, which is the Lua folder. Now you might notice that myfile.txt, a text document, has been automatically created. So if myfile.txt does not exist, Lua automatically creates it. But this only happens if we open the file in write mode or append mode. So if we write another content, let's see what happens. First, let's see what this myfile.txt contains. So we can see that it contains hello Lua, which is the text that we wrote into the file using our Lua script. Now, if we write another text into our Lua or our file myfile.txt, let's say myfile.write learning file handling is fun, and let's save this and run this once again. So once again we can see that this code has been executed. Now if we check the myfile.txt file, we'll observe that learning file handling is fun is also written onto this text file. Now if we close this text file and open it once again, we'll see that this already contains some text, right? Now if I run this script once again, but I write something else instead of all this, so let's say I still open the file in write mode and I write file and then write this has been overwritten, an exclamation mark, and save and then execute the script, we'll be able to observe that whatever was there before we had run the script has been overwritten. So this has been overwritten onto the file. So in order to prevent this, we can open the file in append mode. So if we open the file in append mode and then use the write function to write some text, it will not override the already existing text. It will just add on to this text. So let me demonstrate this with a small example. Now if we open the same file in append mode, that is A, and then let's say I write a /n and then type out this has been appended instead of overwritten, and then save it and then run it once again, we'll be able to observe that so this has been appended onto the file instead of it being overwritten. So I also added a code in between which is closing the file. Now this closing the file is very necessary because it helps to free system resources and it ensures that data is properly saved. So if you open a file, don't forget to close it. And now that we know about writing onto and appending onto a file, let's move on to reading from a file. So let's read the data that we just saved onto this folder. So onto this file, I mean. So let's read this data from our Lua script. Now I'll close this file and open our script and then go on to open this file in read mode once again. So we are reading from a file, so we'll open this file in read mode and then we can read from this file. So let's say we have a condition. Now remember when I told you if a file is not present, this line will return a nil value in this file variable. So we can add a check for that. So if file, then we can say local content equals to file colon and then read and then star and on. So this basically means it will read the entire file. So this will read the entire file. Now if our file is present, then it will read the contents of the file and then print the content. But if not, that is else, it will print file not found. It is important to close the file as well, so I'll type out file and close. Now let's save the script and then run it to find out what happens. Now we can see that the contents of the file that we just created have been read and then printed out to our output. So this is how you read contents from a file. Now, if you want to read contents from a file line by line or just one line of the content, you can just swap all for line. So if you type out line, this reads one line of the file. So reads one line of the file. Let's save this and run this. So it should just print out the first line. So this has been overwritten, which is the first line of our document or text file has been printed out to our output. So this is how you read the file line by line. Now if I just copy this line and then name it content1 and then just copy this line as well and then swap content for content1, it should give out both the lines. So let me save this, and this should give out both the lines. So now if we print out content1 before content, it should print this has been over or this has been appended first. Okay, again save it and then execute it. It should print out this has been appended. So this is how you read the content line by line as well. Now we have discussed reading from a file, writing to a file, appending to a file, and now we remain of discussion how to remove a file using Lua. So removing a file is fairly simple. You just type out one line of code, and that is os.remove and then the name of the file that you want to remove. Now this is the relative path of the file, so this will only search for this file, or let's see in our case my file.txt in our current working directory. So this will only search for my file.txt inside this this directory. It will search for my file inside this directory and then remove for the file. You can also put in the absolute path of the file as same as in while opening a file. While opening a file, you can put down just the name of the file. It will search for the file inside the current directory. But if you want to remove a specific file from anywhere, you can write its absolute path as well. So what this will do if we run this code is this will delete the myfile.txt that we have inside our Lua folder. So let's run this and let's see if the file has been deleted. So we can see that this file has myfile.txt has been deleted from our Lua folder. So that is how you delete a file using Lua. That was it for today's episode. And now it's time for a challenge. Your mission is to create a notepad system where the user can write and read notes. It allows multiple notes, that is in append mode, and bonus, you can also add an option to delete old notes. And with that, we are done with our video for today. If you like the video, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel for more such videos, and we'll keep delivering all of this to you. So until next time, bye bye.